It is here. No compromise, no surrender. Let's go. 1936. Japan, mighty Hirohito, and Bittersteel. Hi! So, we are going to be playing as Japan today, new and improved, and we will make Japan great. And that's not even a meme. But before we can get any of that done, I have 3 caveats for you. Caveat the first, this video is sponsored by Paradox, and they would like me to tell you that the DLC is for sale right now, November 20th, and if you use my link down below, you get a Steam key, I get a cut, everybody wins. They also want me to tell you the base game is free to play on Steam from today, November 20th, all the way through November 24th. So if you want to give it a whirl, now is the time. Caveat the second, this is recorded on a pre-release build, so not everything is going to be exactly the same for you. And then caveat the third, this is not an ultimate guide. This is me getting to grips with the game, and it's not going to be optimal. I need my spreadsheets and a little bit more time to get ourselves the ultimate Japan. That said, let's get my ugly mug out of here. Let's go.
Don't try anything, Dr. Brutalov. I know karate.
That's better. That's a handsome man. Keisuke Okada. All right, let's get going, shall we? Armaments, historical AI focuses on, and we will make Japan great. I do mean that quite literally. Magnificent Japan. And let's take an immediate look at that focus tree. Feast your eyes, boys and girls. Oh, so much content, so much to do, so little time. So what we will be going for today, and it spoke to me immediately, is the Eternal Empire. It will rename the Empire of Japan to the Empire of Great Japan under the direct guidance of Hirohito. It is fascist. It is the continuation of the historical path. Before we can get any of that, we'll start with a little bit of industry. Speaking of industry, I'm going to be building a couple of civs first. We need 35 civilian factories to be able to get this done. First research slot we'll be able to reach, and baby, we only have 3. And afterwards, we just go hard into military factories. Research the basics. My general idea is always the same. All right, organization. So we got a bunch of units. We'll separate them out so we can create a couple of clean divisions. We've got a couple motorized and armor. You might be saying, whoa, medium tanks is Japan? Don't get your hopes up. It certainly does have tanks in it. We've got a bunch of cavalry and Hohai Shidan. We'll trim it down to something a little more budget friendly, but this is the main unit we'll use, and I'll convert the horses to that as well. More filler units. We are not going to be defending our islands just yet. Let's convert most of them to the infantry division as well. So that gives us 2 full armies of infantry. Those 6 we can change as well. We'll take 5 of them, convert them to Riku Sentai, our Marines. Production, many guns. I need many support equipment. Maybe not that many. Many artillery. I don't want basic light tanks. We start with a production run of mediums, like put a little bit more effort into those medium tanks, and they can probably run through China unopposed. So we've got a bunch of ships in production. I'm not too sure about the converted cruisers though. And we'll just finish the construction of everything in the queue. We're making interwar small airframes, so I'm just gonna delete those. I'm gonna need a lot of trucks. I'm gonna need a lot of support equipment, and after that, we are going to make a metric ton of guns. Okay. Good enough. Got a facility, put a guy in there, he can figure out the Yamato class battleship for us. Brilliant. And then a new icon here. Naval headquarters. The easiest way for me to explain this is you can consider this somewhat as a field marshal, but for the Navy. This guy is going to project stats. So the building is over here in Hiroshima. The sea zone it borders is the coast of Japan, and then it radiates 2 tiles outward in every direction from the coast of Japan. Speaking of the Navy, naval mechanics are different. That said, I don't want to talk about the naval mechanics yet, or we will be here for the next several hours. So I'm just going to group the entire Navy up in 2 task forces. All right, we'll trade a little bit with Manchukuo. They have a lot of steel, and we'll do some trade with Siam for rubber. Air Force. I'm going to delete the entire Air Force and just cleanly reorganize it later. We want to train them. Only train them during the day for obvious reasons. They crash a lot at night. All right, rumors of a military coup, yada, yada, yada. So this just adds 2 decisions to the Imperial way. And we have the option to save one of these 2 people. Jotaro Watanabe, I'm not interested in because his artillery attack and defense is worthless to our playstyle. And increasing security around Korekiyo Takahashi, the guy's like in his 80s. Do I really care about a boomer that much? Yeah, part of me does want to hire him. I'll make an exception today. We'll save one boomer on the condition that he saves the country. Well, since we're here, we might as well continue his policies as well. All right, general election, huzzah, Democrats, fine, whatever. All right, the February 26th incident. This is where we choose our political path. Top option, historical. Middle option, Kohoda faction. Bottom option, we go Democrat or Communist. Neither of those are my kind of jam today. We will revisit those later on. Today, we stick with what works. Because I've saved Takahashi, someone else has to die. Put an end to this farce. Boom. Anyway, we have a little bit of political power. Let's spend it on a chief of the army so we can get some ticking army experience early. I like to have it available to me. Let's approach Mitsui. They gave me a couple more saves compared to the rest, and they give me factory output, which is going to be great. So every now and then, the army, or any one of our factions really, is going to give these demands, the internal faction demands. For instance, the army right now wants us to have 300 artillery stored in stockpile. If you actually want the army to lose influence, you can intentionally fail that as well. I think the game is lying to me because I made this exact design before unpausing and it was below 9,500. Now it is 10 above 9,500. Something here is fucky. I could just put the carrier engine 1 in it, but realistically, they're going to be in a battle fleet that is going to be relatively slow anyway. Because like 28.6 knots is still reasonably fast. I'll put these in the queue. And we'll exercise the Navy until it's trained. It's burning through fuel though. Alright, got engineering. Let's get mechanical computing. Want to hire a chief of the Air Force early so I can design better airplanes early. Since the weather penalty is the worst penalty you take as an air nation. So I'm thinking we grab this guy, the all-weather specialist. And then over here, we're going down the political stuff. We're going to get the military minister's attaché system. This one sets off another timer, and that will allow us to choose the rest of our political branch. All right, that's the last one. That should get all the resistance out of Korea. Now, was that worth the cost? Probably not, but I cannot countenance resistance to my rule. You gotta understand. Let's grab improved machine tools. Ooh, we got 100 Navy experience. These are the new doctrines. So, looks very different from what we remember, except for special forces. So, we have this window. At the top, we spend 100 base XP to get the main doctrine. Japan starts with base strike already selected, which is great. It focuses on carriers, and we are a carrier nation. Oh, and then, depending on what class of ships you want to use, you can upgrade 4 distinct trees. Subs, screens, carriers, capital ships, and for land, it's infantry, artillery, you know, the usual suspects. Let's start by making sure our carriers function, and I am compelled to choose floating airfields. So we can select them, and that lights up a preview, and you can have a look at what you're going to be getting over the time. And then as we use carriers in combat and training, this is going to slowly fill up. Pretty neat, huh? All right, we can now get a naval project going, and of course we're going to get the Yamato-class battleship. I mean, I am Japan. I can't not do that, even if it doesn't make any sense. I could add some air for my escapades in China as well. A couple of basic fighters so that we can control the skies. Shouldn't be too hard, so that's fine. It'll be okay, don't worry. And we're going to go with a range-focused aircraft designer, because I really think it's super good. All right, military attaché system. New second prime minister. Don't worry, we'll change him a lot. Next, this starts that timer. Faction conflict reaching a breaking point, 265 days, and we can use 50 political power to reduce it by 70 days. But this leads to the rest of the focus tree, so that one allows you to choose between both of those. So now we're on a bit of a timer anyway. Let's go back to the industry. Don't have the factories yet to get the Riken Institute, so we'll get the Imperial Defense Plan and pick up some military factories from the Kawagoe Army Arsenal. I'll spend some political power to reduce the timer. All right, while we're waiting, let's change the Hohai Shida, make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to duplicate this because I have use of this template for the future. And we'll just remove the 3 infantry battalions, so it becomes 18 width. This is just my preferred unit, not for any particular reason. It matches well for the available combat widths in-game. And we'll also remove the recon because we just don't need recon in a basic infantry unit. And we'll keep training. Now, the reason I've kept the original template instead of changing it is because I know every now and then the army asks you to increase the size of the army. There we go. The army demands a larger army. Fucking knew it. Okay, we're going back to Hawaii Shidan. That's easy enough. Jesus Christ. 750,000 manpower is now required for the other one. Ooh, we're just gonna barely fail it. Let's make sure we don't. I'll just train a couple of extra divisions. So yeah, some of these missions are a little fiddly, but overall they're not that bad. And since we completed the first one, the army has gone from meddling to influential, I believe, or were they already influential? Can't remember. But it does boost them incrementally. It doesn't automatically jump up like a full rank. All right, the Yamato super heavy battleship. I'll just go for speed. I think that makes sense. So in case I have to make use of worse engines. All right, Showa aircraft facilities are in. I have another 70-day focus to do and a 35-day focus to do before we can continue. We can reform the army to get more benefit out of tanks. It makes all tanks 20% cheaper. Holy shit, yes, baby. Like, infantry is what makes sense. Get more stats, except for you take a lot more losses on infantry. More infantry attack. And if you're going with special forces like Japan usually probably should, like Marines, like the new Rangers, I'll show you those in a minute. This branch is really good. I'll postpone the decision, but it's something to consider. Yeah, these are not great. I don't like diesel engines. I'm going to switch them for gasoline engines. I'm going to slap on a Christie suspension. It's not the world's greatest tank, but it's a tank, and that's more than China has. And the army's happy with my army size, so it can now, once more, downsize. Kind of want to hire the financial genius. He's going to hurt my output. He's going to hurt everything else. But he does give me a large reduction in consumer goods, meaning I have more factories available for construction. And we'll dive into our preparations for the war with China. I don't like how I'm still 15,000 guns short. Bunch of trucks, bunch of support equipment. Oh well, it could be worse. Let's also start beefing up the armor. And by the armor, I mean my trucks. These are going to get replaced by medium tanks. I can afford to make that switch. And I've just noticed that the Riken Institute is available. We have 35 civs, which is a big fat lie no matter how you look at it. Because we have 34 civs. And depending on how you calculate it, we actually have 32 civs. So game, why are you lying to me? Either way, we don't need to build all of these civs. We'll finish the one here, and then it's mills. I could establish the Mongol military government, or I could postpone that like a little tiny bit and just get the fund the Riken Institute. The sooner you have the research slot, the better. I mean, it is super important. There you go, Harakiri debate. Collapsing government, that's definitely not good. So you want to get out of this as best you can. Yeah, I should have just timed it better with the 21 demands. Ah well. Can't have everything. All right, we have our Riken Institute, and let's do the Harakiri debate. Right side is the historical path leading to the New Order in East Asia, which will later on morph into our co-prosperity sphere. Left side is the Japan-China-Manchukuo alliance, and I don't need no stinking alliance with Chang. I'm going to put him under my boot. So, the Harakiri debate it is. And now you are going to see a wild ride of consecutive prime ministers. We're going to change prime ministers 3 times in 1 year. Most stable government. Alright, that's another switch. We're going to quickly establish the Mongol military government, and then reinforce the East Hebei garrison so that our war starts more or less on time. And on that note, let's get the army where it needs to be. Gotta say, I would not expect our prime minister to have a field command. I'm gonna ask Manchukuo for its troops as well, just so that we can use them to fill the border. Not much else. Don't really need them for combat. All right, with the war coming up, we're gonna make sure that the navy is in position as well. So I'm gonna take all of these subs, split them up in a couple of task forces, or one Sea Wolf here, and he is going to go convoy raiding these areas. Now, this has been changed now. Missions now give what's called naval dominance based on the mission type and the size of the task force or the fleet. First mission is patrol. It is much more dynamic now, and it's not just set and forget. What is probably the biggest change to Strike Force? If I turn this Strike Force on, this navy's now using fuel! So much fuel! Ah! Let's turn that off. Japan might be cooked, boys. Actually, I'm just going to put the Navy on hold in its entirety. I don't need that much. I'll keep the subs out, the sink convoys. I don't want to burn that much fuel. Wow, that's a lot of fuel gone. And now we're actually going to get some infantry equipment up. All right, stop the exercises. We're going to go to war in 2 days. Eek. Slow the game down a little. Should be fun. All right, we've reinforced the East Hebei garrisons. That stripped the timer away entirely. When was the war originally started? March? So like 3 months behind. All right, it's not great, but historical-ish, I guess. Let's get Kono's first cabinet now. There we go. Marco Polo Bridge incident. War were declared.
What's that?
War were declared.
Let's start pushing. I want to go straight through these guys along this railway down south to Jinan. We need to get the supply hubs, and we want to hit them as hard as we can before they manage to reorganize themselves. Also, fun fact, you can see the Great Wall of China. If you're so inclined, you can defend the Great Wall of China because it gives you entrenchment speed and maximum entrenchment. It's entirely derelict and defunct, but it's pretty fun. So, I can make manga. I can print patriotic and militaristic manga, and that will give me war support and manpower. I am getting the weeaboos into the army through the power of manga. I mean, I have to. And then later on, we have the option to fund propaganda films, and that is an anime character. I recognize that little monkey. These guys are really not strong. Let's grab all the land we can. We took an airfield. Let's put the air up as well. It's not going to do much, but it's going to do more than, well, nothing. You down here to Jinan. You to Jinan. You in there to Ximen. You guys push through Baoding towards the supply hub as well. Supply is everything. If you have the supply, you control China. They never joined the faction. Hebei Jihad, I can just annex them. What? Well, I'll annex them, and I'll leave a report. Now let's punch through here to Shuzhou and get to encircling. The most noble endeavor man can pursue. I think I was just too quick in capping them. In any case, I'm gonna let them walk out of Donghai and into that little stretch toward Qingdao. No, there goes Shandong Clique. No separate peace deal. Now let's get the armor reorganized. 2 of them go there. And then, like, put 3 of them on this flank. United States want an apology. Or I give them a war goal. Fine, have the apology. I don't know whether or not you're going to get mad at me if I say no. With more information, I might make a different decision. But I don't have more information right now. And as soon as my armor gets the fuel they need, I'll get this done. Don't worry about it. All right, you push in there. You push through there. They're actually putting up quite the fight here. I'll just keep the pressure up. Alright, Senbu. Sure, I'll apply it. It gives me a better occupation law in all of the occupied Chinese states. I am a little disappointed with my armor's performance. Not gonna lie. Then again, you know, Japanese armor is debuffed slightly, so it's not surprising. These guys up there are trapped, and as soon as we close the jaws on that trap, we have them trapped as well. The goal is simple. I'm going to approach this the same way I approach my engagements with the Soviet Union. I'm going to cut their army to ribbons, so it's no longer bigger than mine. We need to head down here. There's another research slot. That's a high priority. Want to grab that. Pinning attacks on the flanks. Another pocket. Another billion Chinese trapped. Suck on that, Chiang Kai-shek. We also have the air experience to get a grand doctrine. Battlefield support is what I would think is best, considering, you know, we will probably have air superiority. And now we just mop up the pockets. Glorious. Glorious pockets. And I'm gonna secure the other supply hub here. I just want to make use of the fact that they're currently relatively weak. Get the armor pushing again. Along here, railway. Supply hub. That was already 263,000 men lost. I lost 7,000. I like those odds. Should probably recruit a couple of additional units. Another 19 would be good. But it's also entirely likely that we'll have equipment problems, you know, for garrisons, losses as I do infantry offensives. You know, armor's pushing through here relatively quickly, and infantry's following behind. Yes, supply hub secured, and you take the victory point at Jingzhou. Got the railway as well. Spiritual mobilization. And we'll get the Showa Research Association. Alright, let's start cutting. These are plains. Plains are great. They don't even have the great flooding, so we can keep pushing with them. Alright, thrust north, thrust south, meet in the middle. Alright, close the jaws, if you will. Come on. Make it happen. I am mogging Chiang Kai-shek right now. China right now has a massive problem with its ability to equip its army. Just look at them go. Bing, 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 bing. That was 144,000 men. China's already lost more than 500,000 men, and I've not even lost 20,000 men. Might as well make better CAS. I'm gonna slap, since we do have dedicated naval bombers in our carrier bombers, I'm gonna just slap small bomb bays on there. All right, I'll make a couple of those as well. CAS is king. The more CAS we can make, the better. Alright, naval invasion not working because I need to be actively patrolling. Let's get the patrols out there. My fuel's not gonna like that, so I must invest in fuel stonks from somebody who is morally ambiguous, like Venezuela. Who doesn't love a little bit of lakeside property? Oh no, last stand. Yeah, I hate that. We'll pull the armor back for a bit, refuel, reevaluate, go in from the north, and let's take a look at Shanghai. Take Guangzhou, you take Shuzhou, and encircle Shanghai. Did we take it? Yes. Now out one tile. Everyone, man the defenses. There we go. CAS support is in. Armor, get rolling, get rolling, get rolling. Yeah, two-pronged attack. Pinning attacks on the flanks. Infantry supports. Make this happen, boys. Boom! Encircled this entire area. Since I am somewhat leaning into tanks, part of me thinks I should get mobile warfare, but if I get mobile warfare, I lose out on too many things that I'm actually going to use. We're gonna stick with the very basics. God, that's gonna be such a loss to China. Anyway, we got the Showa Research Association. You invent radar for me, if you will, as soon as you can. Figure out how better medium tanks work, since I'm using them anyway. And we might as well guide the Zaibatsus while we're here. Our basic infantry is on the line now. I'm gonna take the Marines out. And we're going to go for the next naval invasion. Alright, they've run out of their last stand. Let's quickly crush them. You can have another doctrine. I get screens that give me more screening efficiency. And then for the land doctrine, we've got mostly infantry. We're not going to do any of that. Armored spearhead, it's clean, it's simple. We'll stick with that. There we go. And they're gone anyway. Bada bing, bada boom. Right, southern thrust is already making its way towards Wuhan. I'm running into some mountains, but we should be okay. They're gonna halt my advance on Wuhan. If we're not able to take Wuhan, this is a bit of a problem. And by a bit of a problem, I mean a massive problem because of the overextension of the front line. Can I bring the tanks in from the north? Every division engage. I'm also a bit desperate right now, so we should be able to make it. Come on. Yeah, alright, encirclement is complete, so I'm going to get the infantry going right now. I know it's going to cause more casualties than I'd like, but that's okay. You strategically redeploy. Just in time. Whew, 20. Could be better, could be worse. At least their army's like half the size now, so I can probably make more aggressive maneuvers. First off, let's get that naval invasion going. Alright, let's push out from here, grab some land before they can respond. And then make a push towards Nanchang from here. Armor moving through virtually unopposed. I don't think they have enough to cover all of their fronts. Alright, the Zaibatsu faction wants us to hire an industrial company. That's good because I intend to hire Mitsubishi. I lose a lot of political power gain, but I hired someone to offset it, and I get output, dockyard output, factory construction speed. This is pretty good. This is pretty baller, I think. I do intend to wreak havoc on allied shipping, so couple of cruiser subs, probably not a bad idea. They have the range for it, and I'll improve them later on. Nanchang, that's a supply hub. Front line is getting super extended. I'm going to force deploy a couple of infantry. Let's get this armor pushing south. There's another supply hub down there that I like. Alright, the reorganized government of China's done. Well, that created a little puppet here in Shanghai. We can hand over Kuomintang states to the Chinese administration. Let's press that button. Anyway, another little pocket here. It's not as big as the others, but you know, every time we destroy Chinese divisions, they can get them back. And Wang is taking charge of these areas, so that's good. Well, let's get the Marines here. They get the river crossing, and we'll work our way towards Shangde and Changsha. Well, so far so good. Let's get some more doctrines. Infantry seems sensible. I do like support artillery. Yep. Yeah, I found what I want. Assault infantry. By the way, in case you were wondering, why aren't you going to war economy? I can't. At no point in time during this entire war did any of our enemy countries qualify for having more than 40% of our total number of factories. China in its entirety is too poor to match that number. So, oh shit. I'm getting encircled. Bust out now. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. My entire armored core. No. Open. Oh, thank God. Okay, that gate's open. Need to retake Xi'an before I lose the armor up there. I just overextended by a very, very significant margin. Don't ruin this for me. Let's take that fucking tile. It's just some garbage on there. Take the damn tile. Oh! Thank God, I was about to lose a tank. Oh boy, I had a fit there. On the bright side, while that was going on, yeah, apparently some moves were made up north, which is beneficial to us at least. All right, 18% more to go. So we've taken Changde, and I guess from here we'll try to push on Chongqing. Yeah, I'm seeing massive gaps in the front line. We're gonna see if we can exploit that. I'll run the armor to the south and try to create some more chaos over there. More Navy doctrine. Capital ships. Fast battleships. I might be able to get them to catch up with my carriers with that. I got cast support. We're assaulting Chongqing. The armor is just doing unspeakable things to the south. I grab the victory points that I can see. Go around where I have to. Get over there and pin. All right, we've taken Chongqing. Is that enough? So close. All right, a couple more victory points. Maybe we need to go to Chengdu. If we do, I will. Also, little update. Chongqing now has a supply hub, meaning you can actually push past Chongqing. Kind of want to hold off, actually, because I would like to get at least to produce bullet stamps. Give me 2 more mills for the build-up. Well, I accidentally forgot to turn my Marines off automatically attacking, so that battle plan's just cost me 2 mills. There we go. Easy peace deal. November 1938. Not the best time I've ever achieved, but fair enough. Got the big, strong Mongol military government, big, strong reformed government of China. They're gonna have to core all of this, so Wang, you have your job cut out for you. We now have roughly 3 years to prepare, so we will be attempting to seize control of these required territories. Hawaii, Manila, Siam, Guam, Pegu, and Singapore. So we will be following the natural course of events. We hit the Philippines, we hit the islands, we hit Southeast Asia, and we drive into the Raj if and when we can. And then a little island hopping campaign all the way to Hawaii Ridge. So my plan is to build up an air force, build out the navy, and specialize the army. I'll keep an armored core to use for maybe pushing into the plains of India. Well, another important milestone, we have our faction. You might know, factions are different. So first of all, you can actually click on this now. We are the new order in East Asia. You click on that, and here are the new faction mechanics. Some of them are still a little bit beyond me, but in general, the faction goals are in this tab: short-term, medium-term, long-term. This is what your faction is striving to achieve for potential rewards. The faction rules, same as, well, you know, does what it says on the tin. Basic rules for the faction. You need to set a short-term goal. Don't have that yet. We'll do that joint research, I guess. Click on that. Set that as our short-term goal. We've already completed our medium-term goal, which was to control the Chinese capitals. I may have accidentally gotten a bit ahead of myself, in which case we will get... I'm gonna get 1,000 fighters easily. Make sure we have air dominance. I guess it makes sense that our long-term goal is to secure strategic resources. So that is our goals set. So the faction will now start getting more experience as we complete the goals, and we can unlock more beneficial stuff from here. Well, just happened. Germany's done the thing. Poland's gonna go the way of the dodo, and that is time for us to work on Nanshin Ron, so that we can demand some Tonkinese bases once the French go tits up. And we have just achieved peak Japan, the A6M0 Sen, improved carrier fighter. And it's shit. For a carrier fighter, this is dog shit. So we're gonna slap on some heavy machine guns and start producing some of these. All right, I've just finished up a special project, which I wasn't really sure on what it was. A repair and support ship. So I can produce these. I have no idea how they work, but I am interested in giving it a try. So I'm going to build a couple of both. I'm gonna need more dockyards though. We also completed our joint research practices, so that unlocks our joint research. Huzzah! Next, we can institute a joint command structure. That seems like a good short-term plan. What does the research do? Aha! Special project so we can share. I've also made the decision to go with the infantry offensives. The infantry is gonna lead the way down into those islands, and the armor is gonna do well even without, focusing on this. Well, there's the fall of Paris. And I'm demanding Tonkinese bases. French have capitulated. Yep, they've transferred Tonkin. We are going to do some refits. I've just researched improved targeting. Let's get all of my old ships redesigned to get radar. Relatively cheap to add. We're going to add better fire control. Again, relatively cheap to add. We've got plenty of naval experience. Might as well use it. We're going to cram this full of dual-purpose secondaries. So we get some AA power in. All right, this is decent. And then we'll start refitting the ones that we can refit. And we're getting more and more divisions out. And the French have said yes. Huzzah! Beautiful. It's all Japanese Empire. I don't want to manually occupy all of it. I'll just release a bunch of puppets. They'll do their own little focus tree. I'm curious if I can pressure Macau. See if Portugal wants to sign that over. It'd be funny. I want to be funny. All right, Siam is part of the club now. How is the club looking? Pretty baller. The new order in East Asia is rising. Very nice. I've unlocked faction military operations. So what does that do? Oh, joint garrison manpower. Yes. That's going to be great. Sharing of military doctrines. And then we have faction theaters, like where you want your allies to operate. So you kind of get a little more control in steering your brain-dead AI allies. Unfortunately, we're not at war, so there's no factions, no theaters for me to steer. I could build a land warfare facility. There's some good shit in there. Now, I am building a lot, so add it to the queue. Okay, we've built our first support ship. I have no idea what it does. It generates naval support. So if I assign it to a fleet, what does it do? I need to figure that out. Hey, they've signed over Macau. To me! Holy shit, I figured it out. So you take the support and repair ships and throw them into the fleet you want to boost. It will increase the ship recovery rate, naval max range, and max org, depending on how many of these support ships are in the fleet. And then repair ships, I assume, either reduce damage or do some automated repairs. We'll see that once we finish ours. All right, let's see what the payoff is for the naval armaments program. It should create 2 Yamatos and 2 Shokaku class production lines. Ooh, and they're almost done. I'll keep making repair and support ships. Convoys can wait until those big bad bastards are done. It's serviceable, but it's gonna need almost an immediate refit. What is the Shokaku class like? Wow, that shit. My Soryu class is better because it actually has maximum deck size. So I guess it's almost free, so there is that. We're now going to head down here to the Imperial Rule Assistance Association. This will flip us fascist, but it does open the path towards the Chrysanthemum Throne and the Eternal Empire. It is now May of 1941. I've taken my time preparing because I want the Navy ready. 10 aircraft carriers, 8 battleships, and an assortment of others, but these are the big ones. We have 1 Yamato and 1 Musashi, super heavy battleships. They will lead their respective fleets to glory. And what other ship would serve as the pride of the Imperial Japanese fleet than the Yamato? We'll split the fleet into a couple of task forces that will serve. Well, while I'm kitting up for the war, I'm gonna quickly show you what the faction theaters look like. New faction theater. Who gets to run it? Tadakazu. Congratulations, you've been promoted. So, based on the stats of this guy, you get some bonuses to fuel consumption, both Navy and land. First off, we're going to select the regions I want these guys to operate in. Let's take 6 regions. I think that's 6. The government of China and Great Manchuria. And I can use one of my faction points to create that theater. There is now a faction theater there. He's going to give the buffs there. And the AI we've assigned to it is going to be trying to focus on it as well. So I could also get a naval theater set up, might as well. Let's get an admiral in there. A good naval area to operate in. This is, again, a little more useful if you're playing as the allies, I would assume, because, well, the Japanese faction is just Japan and its many puppets, none of them who are actually a real country. But this should do for operating in this area, and then we can shift it further out. We can change this as we go, I believe. Speaking of, immediately after I unpause, the naval faction demands we strike south. Good thing, though, because I am doing the strike the southern road. All right, boys, here we go. Time to slow the game down. We strike the southern road. We now have war goals on, well, basically everyone in the region. Once we take the islands, we start island hopping with the Marines and a detachment of infantry. Meanwhile, we'll push infantry and our armor into the Raj. I've got a holding detachment up north. Naval invasion is going to hit Malaya and the Dutch East Indies, along with the Philippines. All right, we've got air. I would like more air, but I'm having a little bit of a range problem with it. Let's get going. We're going to declare wars one after another, and it's going to be glorious. And then, well, time to get the funny business out of the way up here. We try to grab as much as we can before the whole thing grinds to a halt. Naval invasion is... Ooh... I forgot to set my strike forces in this area, and the enemy has naval dominance now. Big oops. I've decided to split my fleets into 4 smaller fleets instead of just 2 really big ones. We'll see how that goes, but this allows me to cover more ground. National defense state. This will give me national defense state. Pretty good. Get me more coal. All right, you get me Hong Kong, and the rest of you get me more land. Oh, naval invasion is actually not going as well as I would have liked. They're actually shockingly well entrenched. All right, knowing that, I should probably call Siam in if I don't want to lose the Marines here. Ball being dropped all over the place, but it's okay. This is new to all of us. All right, with the force attack, we'll actually push them off. All right, ports seized. Get these Marines in here, and we'll start attacking down to Singapore. And then over here, let's see if we can land in the Philippines and Brunei. They are actually defending themselves, but it's not going to be enough. Already seized everything with my 6 Marines. They're going to run down, and I'll bring in... I have 12 infantry over there. All right, we've landed there as well, so another 12 divisions to hop across and seize all of this land. Just gotta push past these mountains. I gotta take that tile. That is a pretty big deal. Once I can get past that, though, it's fine. Oh, and the US is starting to hit me with naval invasions as well. Ah! Okay, so they got a lot more Marines than I thought they would. Turns out I understand very little of all this. It's fine. All right, I can establish the Second Philippine Republic. Basically turns the Philippines into a puppet. Well, a second Philippines appears. Consider it a Reichskommissariat sort of deal, which we're going to do. And then I don't have to occupy everything myself. Yeah, the Americans are going to... take more of these islands than I thought they would. Subhas Chandra Bose, leader of the Indian National Army, they gave me an offer. All right, fine. I'll take the deal. The Azad Hind Legion. I do want you to be basic infantry, though. It's pretty important that we take that supply hub. That one opens the way. I hate fighting in mountains. Should have brought mountaineers. All right, British Malaya is out of the picture. We'll mop up here. And then we'll hit the big islands of the Dutch East Indies. Over this way, it's fine. I've got access to a ton of rubber because I occupy Malaya. That's fine. And that is the fall of Singapore. Yeah, control Solomon Islands. They'll give it a try. All right, the Americans are steadily degrading my naval bases, so I'm getting invaded. Yeah, sweet. Oh, we got the supply hub. All right, immediately plug that into the network, and then we can run the armor in. Okay. All right, I've taken enough of Burma to establish the state of Burma. Seems like a good idea. These guys are really weak, so if I can keep pushing, we can get to Mongpan and effectively cut this section off. We got control of Brunei, we've got control of Malaya and the Philippines. My submarine fleet is getting worn down a bit. I'm able to replenish losses somewhat, though not quite as much as I'd like. Maybe a couple of escort carriers. Might not be a terrible idea. These are new technology as well that you can unlock from the special projects. And a fully decked out one only has like 40 deck size. It's not a lot, but like half the cost of a real full-sized carrier. So I guess we can use these as like filler. Like my battle fleet's a little on the slow side. They're not responding as quickly as I would have liked. And the intelligence isn't always quite there because I have a strike fleet here sitting in Truk. One sea tile away from whatever's going on here. For reasons entirely unknown to me, it is refusing to intervene here. But at the same time, I've got 2 strike forces moving in from the other side of my operational area to try and intercept that battle. That does not make any sense. Like, what are you doing? Oh god, I'm getting convoy raided! Just ASW warfare shit on there. Fire control, fine. Cheapest one I can fit. Forgot to research subdetection. Over here, we'll take Java and the rest of these shitty islands. Huzzah! Let's just march on in there. This secures this whole thing as well. Yippee! That frees up these guys for a naval invasion that we can plan. Guess we'll try to hit this area. I just realized I forgot. I have an operation here, the Pearl Harbor strike. All I need is like carrier fighters at an airbase. I have no idea what it does, but I'm gonna let it auto launch and we'll see what happens. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's quite a flight time you have there, sir. Oh, we actually had our first real naval engagement. What is this? All right, we handsomely won. Well, on the bright side, we've clearly pushed through in Burma. I can get the field marshal to run operations here. And the first 70 days, I guess we've done reasonably well. We've secured a sizable portion of Burma. We've secured basically all of Malaya. We're taking the Dutch East Indies. I think historically Japan did better. Okay, this is also looking well. I do like this system. This area is your faction area. Yeah, I kind of like that. We've also moved up to national defense state. It's basically total mobilization, but without the manpower cost. I guess, yeah. Oh, you've got to be shitting me. That guy actually dies? And there's no way for me to prevent that? Is there... You've got to be shitting me. Or is there stuff that I need to pick up here that would, like, prevent that? Sturdy aircraft. Oh my god, you've got to be shitting me. I should have done this. That's not just my best admiral, that's the guy running the show. Wait, he's not dead. Alright, I might need to make a bug report for this. Alright, I've completed my strike on Pearl Harbor. I guess that's worth a few planes I lost. It's nice that it's in there, it's just not very impactful, which I guess is historical. I am highly disappointed with Germany's failure in Barbarossa. At least we are keeping the Allies busy. So, yay! Yeah, basically overrun these islands now as well. Yippee! And I'll be able to set up the provisional state of Free India soon as well. We're pushing into India proper. We're nearing Calcutta. I'm gonna have to reorganize the armor a little bit. It probably shouldn't be pushing into mountains. I'm pulling my veterans out of the Dutch East Indies. They've secured it. And I've deployed a fresh army of trash to move in and garrison. So just one naval invasion after another. Eventually we'll get through. All right, there goes British Burma. They've got a little bit of land here left, but all in all, not that much. That frees me up to take out the rest of India. The airfields are quite spaced out. I'm not really able to properly leverage my air power everywhere, which is a teeny tiny bit annoying. So range is an issue, though my airplanes do have quite a bit of it. Need to take Palawan, which I have unfortunately failed to do. I've landed on the wrong fucking tile. Great, those divisions are gone. Guess we're gonna dedicate some Marines to this. Fine. Be that way. Yeah, these guys are all gonna die. Encircled, overrun. So we're doing good damage. I've taken losses. I admit, pushing through the Raj, the mountains of Burma, the jungle of Burma, not ideal. I've done more damage than I've taken. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's fine. I'm going to ask for control of these two states. Bada bing, bada boom. They should give it to me. Huzzah. And now I can create the provisional government of Free India. Huzzah! Azad Hind. Does it have full cores? No, just on the land, it actually does have some cores, so it's gonna be easier occupying shit this way instead of doing it myself. And magnificently, these infantrymen have held out for such a long time. Unfortunately, they will most likely not hold out long enough for it to matter. Wait, yes, I do have infantry available to follow up. And these guys are gonna flood in as soon as we take some ports. The armor's running through the plains now. I've gotten past the point where the defenses are. Alright, we're landing here relatively unopposed. Okay, you, secure a beachhead and start pushing towards, what is Port Moresby? You guys have taken Rabaul. Secure the rest of this place. Head towards that. The Marines arrived, but they arrived too late. Only just in time to avenge their fallen brothers. Godspeed! That was on me, boys. Sorry. Okay, that naval battle went relatively well. Airplanes are cheaper than cruisers and destroyers. I don't think any of my major navies have taken a hit, so these are all doing okay. Alright, figured out how sonar works. Let's get to work making something to annoy, well, the enemy submarines. I'll add radar and sonar so we can find them more easily. I guess this will have to do. Yay, we've taken New Delhi. Alright, so I think British Raj is done for. Azad Hind will take its place. With that closed, I'll probably set the majority of my infantry on port duty to secure Southeast Asia, fully lock it down. We then focus on the rest of the island hopping campaign and make our way towards Hawaii. Oh, there we go. That's a new flag. Large and in charge. Hirohito is the boss now of the Empire of Japan. Imperial Japan, even. And we can continue on to the Eternal Empire. Just need Hawaii. I'm going to take a little detour because I have noticed we have achieved our goals for resource security and get ourselves a mighty economic miracle going. Pretty happy with the outcome so far. Like, there's so many focuses left to do, but it's only like 1942. So I've been at it for a year and I've secured basically all of Southeast Asia, including India. I did forget that Iran eventually flipped, so I pulled my army out. They're on their way back, don't worry. And then we move on to strike Wake, Midway, and then from there to Hawaii. Meanwhile, not according to plan, would be Operation Barbarossa, who are now 1 year in. And yeah, the Bucharest is in sight, so good job, boys. Good job. We are hitting Hawaii. Let's see if it works out. I'm dedicating like 100 divisions just to guarding all these islands. I just haven't bothered taking out Australia and New Zealand. It's really annoying moving ships around to secure naval supremacy now. So you really have to plan it so you cover entire areas instead of just ping-ponging around. All right, let's see if we can take Honolulu. Also have to take out Ceylon so I can create the state of Ceylon. I don't think the Americans are actually home. They're not. Well, Eternal Empire it is. Huzzah! And we're gonna build this place up. Air bases, radar stations, naval yards. In any case, we'll move all the Marines here and we'll start the grand operation to take LA. Dear God, we've taken a lot of land. I've sunk a lot of ships as well. I've not really fought the Americans in open battle, but I've killed 1 million of them, which leads me to believe I don't actually have the range to get to the American Eastern Seaboard. That's a problem. I'm gonna need to figure out underway replenishment. I am getting into Iran, at least, so yay, with air support is working. So much to do, so little time. Alright, okay, it took me a lot of fiddling. A lot of fiddling. But the Marines are on their way to Los Angeles, so the ranges are a bit of an issue, so I had to use cruiser submarines to patrol, and the only the absolute most long-range vessels in the fleet. So the high-tier battleships and carriers to set the strike force on this specific sea zone. And then I had just enough range to make it happen. Anyway, naval invasion is on its way. Either they succeed or we all die. We're going to reconsolidate the fleet. If and when we do succeed, I need to get these boys here ready to head out to sea. All right, we are now the Eternal Empire. We are the Empire of Great Japan. Beautiful. So we've reached the goal we've set out. We've got Hirohito on the throne. I guess we'll get resource security and see if we can cap the US. And I think we can call it a day. At that point, people would come to the negotiating table. This better work out. No way. It worked out. We got him off LA. Okay. Just quick little research update so we can keep going. Hit that port. Make sure we can take that as well. Start spreading out. The Imperial Japanese Army is on its way, boys. It's a long way, so the Marines are going to have to hold quite to the beachhead for a while. Just push out, take the supply hub, move in, take that supply hub, and we'll keep them bottled up in San Diego meanwhile. I'll just freeze the conflict in Iran. Don't care about this. Everything else is garrisoned. This is not actually a hard border. This is Mexico. Oh shit, the Mexicans are in this war as well. Whatever we do, let's not overextend. Dig in and hold. Ooh, battle fleets are engaging. Oh, this is big one. Oh, I don't actually have enough screening efficiency. Why do I not have enough screening efficiency? Okay, I want to see how this goes. Oh, I think we're running, but we are dealing more damage than we're taking. Okay. Not too bad. Whoa, we took a lot of aircraft out. All right, fair enough. Well, at least we came out of this one intact. Has a pretty big-ass fleet they've got out there. God, it's 1943 and Turkey just joined the Allies. Seriously? At least Germany started to roll it back, but Germany's cooked at this rate, unless I deal with the Americans, which I probably will. In any case, we're sinking a lot of American shipping here, so the submarines are eating well. They're eating good. So we're going to get as many airplanes up over here as possible. 1,000 fighters and then 1,000 cast. That will make for a nice balance. The army's here, and the American army is not, so we're just going to start pushing. I've got my armor on the way as well. I think I sent them to Hawaii first. There we go. 5 tanks. It's really not enough. I should train a couple more, but I got a little bit bogged down doing all this. Well, resource security. There we go. We'll get that at least. 2 armor plates, sealing fuel tanks, best engine, bunch of machine guns, and then the range designer. It has an additional 45% range. It is so good. Mitsubishi might be better overall for all the combat stats, but the lack of range means you need to put different modules on it, meaning it will never be as good. Oh, another naval battle. Please don't fuck this up for me. They got way better screening than we do, but I think we've given them pounding nonetheless. That took some damage, but overall, that's a lot of airplanes lost. That's a win overall, I'd say. There we go. That's gonna hurt. Oh, yes. And another. All right, we're taking the Pacific Fleet apart. Well, we're taking America apart. Okay, so just battle planning isn't gonna cut it. So I'm gonna use the armor. For all the armor I have. Probably use some assault engineers as well. Good investment. All right. Despite my plan of doing this with an armor push, it would feel, it would seem like my Marines got too eager, and they just sorted that out for me. AI picture of my admiral on the deck of an aircraft carrier with the Japanese sign saying mission accomplished. Perfect. I think that's the remains of the Pacific Fleet. Some of them are hiding in Vancouver, but that is basically the Pacific Fleet. Hell yeah. They cannot stop my armor. God, the trades are so good. Yeah, investing in quality airplanes always worth it. Run my armor up through there. Head to Dallas. And over here, it's not much here, but we'll take the supply hub. Just keep pushing. All right, time to get this over with. We'll try to do it actually cleanly. Get some encirclements in. Just cut the American army down to size because it is still absolutely massive, apparently. So we'll just go for pockets, destroy it, move on. So far, I think the Americans are down to like 260 divisions, you know, which sounds great, but then I only have 120 assigned to this front. At least the Air Force is doing its job. Small-scale encirclements, better than nothing. We'll just whittle them down as we make our way to Washington, D.C. I'm now performing what I like to call Operation Snake Like a Degenerate. We're going to try and grab as much land out of this as we can before the Americans reposition and actually, you know, get a defensive foothold going. We're pushing everywhere. We're basically just broken through, applying maximum pressure with as little armor we have, combined with the air power. Yeah, they got ships over there. I don't want to lose them, so we're going to set them to strike force this general area. Now, for the most part, Operation Snake Like a Degenerate seems to be working. Oh, yes. Beautiful, beautiful encirclement there in the Rockies. Oh, they're going to feel that. That is a big chunk of their army. All right. Almost 5 million casualties for the US, 4.1 by myself. Now, I have sustained 1.1 million casualties. The US has definitely worn me down a bit, but I got millions of men left. Yeah, I'm just driving with my trucks, my tanks. I'm just keeping them rolling forward. We've essentially encircled them everywhere. We've cut their army down to size. I'm going to cut down to Florida, cut the panhandle off from the rest of this decrepit empire, as you do, and then collapse it all, break their backs. The Marines will definitely clear out the jungles of Florida. The armor now has a clean shot along the eastern seaboard. And with that, the Empire of Great Japan has defeated the enemy. The United States of America are no more. Well, it's September of 45. Everything's just dragging on because of the sheer incompetence of the German army. Like, they're grinding the Soviets back, okay, and they've not gotten D-Day, mostly because I've crushed the Americans. But this line hasn't really moved in quite some time, so I'm forced to use a green persimmon, which is the bad way of invading the Soviet Union because you don't really get the benefit. On the other hand, if we had the persimmon has ripened, we could have just charged in there with all of our bonuses. Unfortunately, you know, gotta suffer through it. You can only do this if they have at least 50% surrender progress. So green persimmon it is. We're gonna barge in there, and we have a decision to sign a separate peace with the Soviets to get Siberia from them if we control it. So maybe we might actually get that. And they also control the last of our cores, and then we will have reclaimed every core state of the Empire of Great Japan. All right. 3, 2, 1. Basically just blast off. Just make sure all of these battle plans are running. We are going to give Stalin the frights of a lifetime. Let's get in there. Hello, Stalin. Nice to meet you. I wonder how you've lost over the course of this. 17 million men! I would not want to see German losses now. Total air dominance, total land dominance as well. Not too surprising considering they're all very, very busy trying to fend off the German death war. Having the opposite of fun right now, walking into the frozen Siberian wastes is not my idea of a good time. So, I would like to grab these last couple of tiles, Khakassia, Oyrot, and Yakutsk, and then never go here again. Holy shit, is this terrible to fight in. Oh, that's it. I take the deal, Stalin. For the love of God, take the deal. They have surrendered the East. Bada bing. Bada boom. The Empire of Great Japan has seized the natural resources it had always sought to claim. We are the one and only power in Asia. We are the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere. The Empire of Great Japan controls all of its myriad cores. We have many cores. Also got our Sakhalin united. We have everything that we wanted. I don't want to fight the Allies. It's 1946. I could naval invade them. I could just not. And that's what I'm going to do. That has been my look at the Empire of Great Japan. The Japanese focus tree certainly has a lot of strength in it. I think it might be a little bit overpowered, even if I do say so myself. A lot of fun. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.